Hi kids, it's Monday, August 31st, and your video today is going to have just a few parts. The first part is you'll get your spelling list. Ian and Holly, you are red, and Hunter, you are in the orange group, so make sure you don't forget those things. You're also going to get a couple of short mini lessons. One will be on literary elements and the other one will be on theme. And both of them have to do with the story. Sometimes a dream needs a push. So if you want to hit pause for a second, make sure you have your My Book. You can also be ready to hit pause and copy down your spelling words so you'll know what to study. That's up to you. You will also need page 6. Says literary elements. If you want to pause me and print out page 6, and page 7 is theme. It's page, holy cow, that's not page 7, I'm sorry, that's page 10. 6 and 10. So you can pause me and print those out if you want, but I am going to keep going. If you are the orange group, this would be Hunter Grobe. Your job is to highlight words based on the long vowel spelling pattern. You can see that all of your, let's see, how can I make this so you can see it all? All of your words have a long vowel in them. If you look at the blue ones, you'll see that they are all vowel consonant E. So the first one is scene, like a scene from a movie. And the second one is bracelet. And they don't have the same vowel sound. Scene is a long E, and bracelet has a long A, and mute has a long U, and strive has a long I. But the reason I highlighted those all together, the dark blue ones, is because they all follow the vowel, consonant, and the silent E. And that E helps the vowel say its name. And if we move on down, you see faithful as your next word, and you see I highlighted the AI, makes the long A sound in faithful. And if you jump over to this column, you see terrain has the same AI spelling for the long A. And then you'll, nope, it's always backwards from what my hand wants to do. Rhyme is a long I spelled with a Y, and rely is a long I sound spelled with a Y, so they're highlighted the same. Then moving on to succeed and exceed, those are both long E spelled with double E. Oops. And then coax has a long O spelled OA, and reproach has a long O, and reproach spelled OA. And I think you only have a couple left. Conceal has a long E spelled with EA, and defeat has a long E sound spelled with EA. And that should pretty much cover all your words. So you could pause that and write those down and highlight them at home. And Ian and Holly, your list also has long vowel sounds. They are just long A and long E words. If you look up at the top, you see awake is an A consonant E, and ashamed is A consonant E, and then they just add the D to make it past tense. So those are both vowel consonant E words. Moving on, feast is EA, spells the E sound in feast. And if I look across here, I see beneath has an EA spelling the long E, and repeat has the EA spelling the long E. I don't know if you can see this or not, but disease and release are both stinkers because they both have the long E spelled with EA, but then they also have a consonant E. They have it vowel consonant E, and over here we have a vowel consonant E. And I just wanted you to notice that these two words follow the EA pattern, but then they have the stinky E at the end. So don't be fooled and don't forget your E at the end of it. Moving on to stray, spelled with an A-Y. The long A is spelled A-Y, and the same in display and sway. And greet is a long E, spelled with a double E. Sleeve, double E. Sheepish, double E. And then braces. Oops, that one should have been up there with awake and ashamed. Has an A consonant E. And then thief and niece, both are spelled I-E, long E spelled with an I-E, and niece has that E at the end to make the C a soft C instead of K. And I think that covers your list, so you could have paused me so you could write those down. The next thing is I want to talk about literary elements. Literary elements is kind of the fancy English teacher, literature teacher way of saying all the things you've learned since you were in kindergarten. You started studying characters and setting and added in plot and events all through school. So this should just mostly be a reminder for you. Literary elements are the pieces that make up a story. Characters, the people and animals in a story. What do they do, say, and think? What do other characters say and think about them? It's important to notice not just who the characters are, but also the relationships they build with the other characters in the text. The next part, the next element, is the setting. It's the where and when the story takes place. It can make a big difference if a story is set in the future or in the past compared to how we live life today. And down at the bottom you have plot. Conflict is the main problem that the characters face. Remember from talking last year, you can have man versus nature, man versus society, kind of like if it's somebody going up against the government, like in Among the Hidden. That was one book we read last year. And you could have man versus self, man versus animal. And then the resolution is just how the conflict gets resolved or solved. And the last part are the events, and those are the things that happen in the story that could change a character. They might affect the mood of the story, or they might help build on the plot. And so in your book, you should turn to page 22. And wait a minute, how about page 20? Page 20 of our story, please. Sometimes a dream needs a push. And on page 20, you see that there are little numbers next to the text. Next to each paragraph, you can see a little number there. And I want you to find paragraph number 2 and reread it. You can pause me so you can reread it, but I'm going to go ahead and keep going with the question. What events does the narrator recall? What events does the narrator recall? And I had told you to print out this literary elements page. And in paragraph 2, you'll probably be thinking about him remembering the accident, remembering blacking out, remembering his mom screaming, glass breaking, remembering being in the hospital and having to have surgeries. The next question asks, how does the flashback support the plot? So him going back and remembering this flashback is not actually part of our story. It's not part of this basketball story. It didn't happen during the time of this story. It happened back in the past. So he's flashing back to it, remembering what had happened to Chris. And flashbacks can help support the plot in different ways. I feel like you should pause me right now. I also know I'm running out of minutes here, so you can pause if you want to try to guess it yourself. But you should answer something to the effect that It helps give us background information and it helps us understand the conflict in the story. It has to do with him being in a wheelchair. And then the last question that I need you to answer today is, nope, that's it on that page, just 1 and 2. So when you are answering, you should be using complete sentences, and you need to say something about the crash in the hospital in number 1, and something about background info and helping us understand the conflict in number 2. You write it out as a complete sentence, please. And then jumping ahead, you can pause me if you need to so you can write. And then page 28 is your next page. And flip over in your packet to the next side says theme at the top. And you all are probably thinking, theme, that's the easiest one. It's the lesson to be learned from the story, right? We learned that. Theme, according to these fancy dancy little cards, is the main message, lesson, or moral of the text. It can be explicitly stated in the text, where you could actually find, oh, there's the theme. Sometimes fables and myth might tell the theme at the end. The moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race, and the tortoise and the hare. Sometimes the theme is implied. It's an implicit theme, and it means that you have to read all the details in the text and then you come up with what the theme is based on all of the clues. Use text clues to figure it out. What happens to the characters? How do the characters react? What do the characters learn? How do the characters grow or change? So ask yourself, what is the author trying to teach me? Think about at the end of the story, why did the author write that? What do they want kids to know? And some example themes are people should accept others, people should be compassionate, people should persevere. Now, on page 28 in your text, I would like you to reread paragraph 61. And you can pause me while you read it. And your question is, what theme can you infer in paragraph 61? What theme can you infer? That one's filled in. So use this. Oops. And you're probably going to want to say something like, gaining confidence can be more rewarding than winning. Just feeling like you can do better the next time. The next question asks you to reread paragraph 62. Please pause me and do that. In paragraph 62, why doesn't Chris want to push his dad? Well, you should say something to the effect that Dad is just now starting to accept Chris, and Chris doesn't want him to stop showing up to practices. They're starting to rebuild their relationship, and Chris doesn't want that to fall apart. And then question number 3, what theme does this support? So after reading paragraph 2, what can we learn from this story? You'll probably want to say something to the effect that you can't always get what you want, but you might end up liking what you do get. And so you can pause this and check it out. You will rewrite these in complete sentences and make sure it's in your own words. That, my friends, is the end. Have a great day.